Okay. So we'll get right into it. Welcome, and I really appreciate you joining us today. It has been quite a long time since we've gone around and done introductions. So I thought, we could start off this meeting and just going around and everyone just giving themselves a quick introduction. So just your name and organization would suffice, just so we can get to know everyone who's here. So we have a small enough group. I think this will be manageable. So I'm going to start. My name is Alana Todd. I'm the environmental planner at the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council. And I'm just going to go around and I'll call out your names. So Paula, you want to go next?
Yes, my name is Paula Staples. I work for Hillsborough County Florida Friendly Landscaping, and my job is public education program coordinator, but I do work with homeowner associations, helping with irrigation and then stormwater pumps too.
Thanks, Paula. Heather, you want to go next?
Good morning, Heather Maggio with the City of Tampa.
Thanks. Ken?
Hi, good morning. I'm Ken Davis, the grant writer at MOSI, the Museum of Science and Industry.
Thanks, Ken. Lara?
Hi, I'm Lara Milligan. I'm the Natural Resources Agent with UF-IFAS Extension in Pinellas County.
Thanks, Lara. Vicki?
Good morning. I'm Vicki Parsons with Bay Soundings.
Vicki. Jonah?
Hi, Jonah Mick with Plant City.
Thanks, Jonah. Christine Lynch?
Morning, I'm Christine Lynch with Pasco County Stormwater.
Thanks, Christine. Sheila?
Hey everybody, I'm Sheila Sclaro. I'm the Community Program Scientist with the Tampa Bay Estuary Program.
Thanks, Sheila. Jarvis?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Jarvis Sheeler. I'm the Environmental Code Enforcement Inspector for the City of Clearwater Engineering Public Works Department.
Thank you. Christine Joyner?
Hi, I'm Christine Joyner. I'm with Pinellas County Environmental Management.
Thanks, Christine. All right, Sadie? Alderson?
Hi, good morning. I'm Sadie and I work with Pinellas County and I'm an environmental specialist.
Thanks. All right, I see B. Easterwood.
That's me. Hi, I'm Barbara.
Hey, Barbara.
I'm the Environmental and Regulatory Affairs Manager for Amalie Oil Company.
Thanks, Barbara. Nicole Maloney.
Morning, my name is Nicole Maloney. I'm also with Pinellas County Environmental Management.
Thanks, Nicole. Nice to meet you. Sandra Pope.
Good morning, I'm Sandra with the City of Lakeland. I'm an environmental specialist in the Lakes and Stormwater Division.
Thanks, Sandra. Right, and Yvonne Yosvani.
Good morning, my name is Yosvani with the City of Pinellas Park, Stormwater Foreman.
Thank you very much. Michelle.
Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle. I'm the Stormwater Program Coordinator for the City of Dunedin.
Thanks, Michelle. Blake. Blake Simmons. Blake is the new social scientist with the Tampa Bay Estuary Program. And then next I see Paquita.
Yeah. Hi, good morning. I'm a volunteer, Friends of Florida Watersheds, and Community Development Board member in the City of Largo.
Thanks. And what is your first name?
Paquita.
Oh, okay. Great. Nice to meet you, Paquita. Thank you.
Thank you.
Melody.
Hi, I'm Melody and I'm the Sustainability Specialist with City of Clearwater.
Thanks, Melody. And last, we have Kira.
Hey there, Kira Barrera, City of St. Pete, Special Projects Manager for the Water Resources Department.
Thanks, Kira. Oh, and Joey has joined us too. Joey, you want to introduce yourself, just your name and position?
Yes, my name is Joe Thames. I'm the NPDS coordinator for Pinellas County.
Thanks, Joey. All right. Am I forgetting anyone? Is anyone left out? Let's not introduce themselves. All righty. Well, thank you all. So good to see you today. So let's jump right into the presentations. First up, we have Lara. She is going to be giving us an overview of this new program she's starting it's an educational program all about tidal creeks. Go ahead, Lara.
Okay. Always fun. Okay, we good? Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So we briefly talked about this, I think, at the last meeting, and I'm just going to give you guys a better overview of what I'm trying to do. It's a big project. So basically, we're working towards creating a best management practices training program for stormwater maintenance crews and staff as it relates to tidal creeks and tidal tributaries. And perhaps you're aware, perhaps not, we have 1,400 linear miles of tidal tributaries within the Tampa Bay watershed. So this is a critical need in the area. If you haven't done a lot of work on tidal creeks, there's plenty for you to read, half of which I have gone through so far. But to sum it up, benefits of tidal creeks, critical nursery habitats, productivity and diversity of our estuaries really relies on these tidal creeks. And different papers will refer to tidal creeks basically as the canary in the coal mine of our water systems. This is the primary link between our upland kind of freshwater systems to our estuaries. But of course, we all know this, probably part of your job is because we have totally altered these systems. We now have a lot of issues that we need to address. Flooding from massive freshwater inputs, which obviously alters the ecosystem overall, in addition to the excess nutrients that are in that water once it enters the tidal creeks. So kind of what we're getting at is, okay, is there any hope for restoration of the damage that we have caused? We like to think yes, the research is saying there's hope. So that's kind of where this program is coming into play. So again, we're developing best management practices training program. Right now, we're really focusing on city and county stormwater maintenance staff, but we also hope to also work with homeowners that reside on these tidal creeks and tidal systems as well. So the big overall goals of this program is to figure out a way that we can manage these urban streams, however we broadly want to refer to them, not only for flood control, but multiple purposes. How can we also enhance water quality and maintain and sustain the habitat that the organisms that live there need to thrive and survive? Building on identification of native, I'd even go on to say invasive plants and their associated benefits. And if crews are out working and residents along the creek are like, hey, what the heck are you doing in my backyard? Being able to address and talk with them in a manner that will not lead to conflicts. So conflict resolution training is going to be built into the program as well. So it's a multi-phase project, not set to really wrap up till 2026. So we have time to really do this and do it well. So right now we are in the needs assessment phase of the project, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. Then once we get all the input that we think we need to build the curriculum, we'll develop the curriculum, implement workshops, and then kind of the last phase of the project is we want to do a public facing restoration project to show the importance of tidal creeks and kind of what we did as for the restoration that might be things that people could also do in their own yards. So my findings thus far, I've conducted 11 interviews, very long interviews, usually about an hour each, with anyone pretty much that I could find that has done work on tidal creeks, whether it's in Florida. I did a lot in South Carolina as well. So if they have working with tidal creeks and they were willing to talk to me, I talked to them. And then I went through all the interview notes and kind of came up with some common themes from those interviews. So that's what I have outlined here. A lot of people stress what we already know that the research points out, but highlighting the importance of these tidal creeks to juvenile fish, right? That's where it all starts. And so it's important that we maintain that in a way that's going to be sufficient for them to grow into adults. Where it gets a little bit complicated, and where a lot of people I talked to in South Carolina were like, well, they did more just like stream restoration, just fresh water. And when we add in this complicated factor of the salinity gradient that obviously fluctuates high tide, low tide, moon phases, and how that might impact the plants that you find there and the animals that you find there, it just further complicates the restoration process for tidal creeks. So just something to keep in mind. It was stressed that an assessment tool to establish some type of baseline for, what we have now. And then if we implement restoration, and then being able to do another assessment to see how the creek has changed, hopefully for the better. Another thing that really got brought up a lot is, yes, we're talking about tidal creeks, but we can't only focus on this tidal creek area. We need to look at the broader watershed, look at the headwaters where we're getting a lot of these nutrient inputs from, which of course we all know that, but important to keep in mind. Another piece that was emphasized a ton was anytime that we do restoration with native plants, we're really good at picking out plants that look pretty and we plant them and then we're done. And we don't go back and we don't maintain it and we don't weed it and we don't keep invasives out of it. So they stress the critical importance of, if you're going to go through the restoration process to plant native plants, let's keep it that way. Highlighted issues with property rights, easements, again, probably issues you guys are familiar with. And a big stress, and the more people I talk to, it seems to be a big barrier of natural restoration, which we are doing, I would say, more of in Pinellas County over the conventional, kind of hard structures. That seems to be really hard to convince engineers and other people to do that. But that is what we're going to be hoping to emphasize and work towards. And also to further emphasize on the planting is to really focus more so on the function of the plant and the purpose that it's going to serve, as opposed to how it looks, which, that's probably more into when we work with homeowners on this issue, but again, something to keep in mind. I also surveyed some of you on this call and other people working in the stormwater realm to get your thoughts on what you think your stormwater staff should be trained on, kind of from the criteria I outlined before for the focus of the program. By and large, you could see that how to manage for multiple purposes came out on top. This is what people really want to figure out. So that is where I will likely put more focus on for the training. And then you can see close behind that, identification of native and invasive plants and maintenance of those plants. And then it goes down. Obviously, nobody really wants to be trained on consensus building because we don't want to talk with people, but that's what I'm trained in. So that's what we're going to do. Next step for my needs assessment efforts is going to be doing focus groups with stormwater staff. So if you haven't already, I've spammed some of you. There's 2 upcoming opportunities for a virtual focus group. I'll throw the links in the chat when I'm done. If you have stormwater staff that are willing to let me talk to them and just get their input about what they're experiencing when they are out in the field, I would love to hear from them. I'm going to try and keep the groups small because obviously I want to be able to hear from everybody, but there will be one, is that this Thursday? Next Thursday, 9 to 10:30, and then the following Wednesday, same time. So this will be online. I will again put the links in the chat and would love for you to share those with your staff, or perhaps that's you, and I'd love to have you there. Okay, I'm trying to keep it quick. I don't know if I did that, Alana, but that's the summary of the project we're working on, and I'm open to any thoughts, comments, questions, criticisms on what we've done so far or where we're going. Okay, that's all.
Thanks, Lara. Great job. Does anyone have any questions or comments for Lara? So, okay, I'll start. Tough crowd today. So Lara, do you plan on including within this program or maybe an expansion of it to include education for residents too?
Yeah, so in the initial scope of work, it was to work with both stormwater staff and residents. And it's kind of, we've decided that we're going to first just focus on stormwater staff. But I think once we get input from them on what they're experiencing and maybe having conversations with residents, that will also help inform that piece. So that will definitely be a focus of the program eventually. Yes.
Awesome. Glad to see that.
And I'm seeing Blake's comments as well. Thank you. Yes, consensus building training. Maybe I'll bring you on board, Blake.
Joey, you have your hand raised? Do you want to unmute yourself, Joey, and ask your question?
Okay, there we go. I'm having technical difficulties. I'm sorry. I was wanting to ask if your work is in conjunction with what FDP offers as far as their Florida sediment and erosion control training courses. And also if you would like some assistance, we do have a part of our illicit discharge training program that we do in Pinellas County. When we train some of our field staff that are mainly dealing with construction best management practices, that we have a little portion that we add on to that illicit discharge training. So if you would like some assistance with some of the information we already have and we already train our employees with, please let me know.
Yes, thank you. And that actually brings up a good point. If anyone, and Joey, I'll get with you on the side. I did create like a shared, we use OneDrive for the university and the county, where anyone who has training that they're willing to share with me. So I'm not like, obviously my intent is not to recreate the wheel. It'd be very helpful to know what you are already training your staff in or you are being trained on. So I will send that link. Maybe I'll even post it in the chat now, but if you have that, that would be awesome.
Great, thanks, Joey. And I see that as one of the many benefits of having these meetings is for all of us staff to get together and to share resources and to collaborate on projects, because you don't have to do these projects alone. Oftentimes others have really great tools and existing resources to share. So please speak up and give as much information as you can to Lara. It'll only help her, and I'm sure it'll help you too. What she's creating, you could bring to your staff to enhance their education. So Lara, is there something that we can do to help you? I would encourage all of you to direct your staff towards Lara so she can keep doing these interviews and sort of getting the information she needs. Anything else that we can do?
I think that's the main thing right now, is because I can't develop curriculum that's going to be beneficial for our purposes and stormwater staff if I don't get input from them. I don't know what you guys are experiencing in the field. So I put the links in the chat. So that would be my main call to action. If you have staff, please send them to register. Again, one next Thursday and then one the following Wednesday. That's probably the main need right now. And certainly if you guys are not able to attend either of those just due to various reasons, please still feel free to reach out to me and I can just do a one-on-one interview, because again, all the information I can gather is going to be helpful.
Awesome.
And I see Kira. Oh, go ahead.
No, did Kira, can you share your presentation? Kira, I'm going to be posting her presentation on the Stormwater website once she sends it over. So I would check that out there. And then maybe Lara, you can also send it over to Kira offline.
Okay.
Blake, do you have a question?
Hi, hi Lara. Thanks for the presentation. Actually, it was a bit more of kind of just a comment or opening a doorway for you if you'd like. So one of the emphases that we have here at TBEP right now is focused around an equity strategy. And one of the major themes for implementing our equity strategy is titled tributary restoration. And so I just wanted to let you know that to sort of feel free to reach out. I know you're kind of focusing more on staff at this point, so maybe a little less applicable, but like if you want to sort of incorporate sort of equity training into that staff component. And so to think about, how do we equitably, decide where to put some of these projects, or, how to get diverse stakeholders involved, those sorts of things. Feel free to reach out, but also sort of further down the line, once you start getting into actual, residents and things like that. Yeah, just feel free to reach out, and we'd love to collaborate with you.
Perfect. Yes, thank you. And I think, yeah, Maya or Sheila has mentioned that too. And we were kind of looking at Joe's Creek. Maybe there's lots of opportunities, obviously, for restoration, but like you said, incorporating that DEI component will definitely be a focus. Fortunately, we have time to figure that piece out.
Right. Lara, so what will be the applicability of this new program like outside of the watershed? Because I know some people are probably joining us from outside of the Tampa Bay watershed. So will this program, the resources you develop, will it be applicable to those staff members who aren't necessarily here around Tampa Bay?
Yeah, and I think that's going to be one of the pieces that will, as we're developing the curriculum, is kind of thinking about how we can make it almost in modules where it could be pulled out. Like if tidal tributaries, if that terminology alone is going to be like, that doesn't apply to me, perhaps pulling that out, or at least setting the stage broadly so it doesn't feel like, oh, this doesn't apply to me. But again, right, the watershed is massive. So although you might be not working directly like on a tidal creek, even if you're working like way upstream, right, it eventually all connects. So I think just emphasizing the overall connections and possibly, again, doing it in like a modular way where people could pick and choose down the road. And we'll see once we actually do the workshops, probably sometime next year is our goal. And we can kind of, do some piloting of those workshops and get feedback from staff too.
Right, and so it'll be mostly an online kind of training, right? Or no, it's going to be in-person training.
Yeah, it'll be in person. Yeah, I'm thinking like just me teaching in like a modular way. But yeah, the training, the emphasis will be for the training to be in person. Obviously, that could change down the road, but for now, the workshops that we plan to do will be in person.
Okay. Yeah, I think it might be good to consider a virtual option in the future, something that maybe is like pre-recorded. I'm just thinking about Heather's presentation at the last meeting and how her staff, they do the training, well, before when it was in person, like on a rainy day, or they're going to be doing it throughout the year. And so I think it'd be great if they could do it asynchronously. They don't necessarily have to have you in person, but maybe like recordings of you. That would be great. Any other questions for Lara? Or comments? Is this maybe something that you'd be interested in implementing within your city or county?
This is Jonah, and yeah, I think we're trying to get some people to participate. So we don't have tidal creeks here, but Laura says that's okay. So we're gonna try.
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, any input, managing tidal creeks for multiple purposes, that alone applies, tidal creek or not, that information is going to be relevant to everyone, and stormwater staff's experiences with that feedback will be helpful. I did just put in the chat, hopefully it works, the link to my OneDrive where I'm having people put any training materials that you guys already have in there. If you're willing to share, obviously I know some people don't like to share, but if you're willing to share so I don't recreate the wheel, I'd appreciate it if you could just drop it in there at your convenience.
Great, and I'll include that link in the minutes too for the meeting, Lara. Perfect. Any final comments? Well, I hope when you start rolling this out, Lara, we'll do a story with Bay Soundings for sure.
Perfect. Yeah. No, I appreciate the opportunity to present.
Well, thank you for joining us today. And I look forward to seeing how this program progresses. Great. Well, we will keep moving through the agenda. So next up, Christine Joyner, are you there? Awesome. Okay, well, Christine will be giving us a short update on their Florida Friendly Landscaping Incentive Program. We got a presentation last year from Allie, but there's been some updates, and so she just wants to catch us all up on that program. So Christine, thank you, and take it away.
Can you guys see my screen okay?
Yes, you might just want to go full screen.
Oh,
great.
Is that good? Okay, perfect. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I am Christine Joyner. I am with Pinellas County Environmental Management, and I help run the FLIP program here, which is the Florida Friendly Landscaping Incentives Program. Our team members, it's a partnership between Pinellas County Environmental Management and UF IFAS Extension here in Pinellas County. We have Doris Heitzman and Melissa West on UF IFAS staff, and then we also have assistants from our their Master Gardener program, Meridel and Holly as well. Just a quick recap for those who have already heard about the program, but a little information for those who haven't. A few years back, Pinellas County saw the turf swap program created by Alachua County during a conference, and were inspired by the concept of incentivizing homeowners to remove their turf landscape. So we reached out to Alachua County and were able to learn about some of the things that worked and didn't work for their program. And that helped us in the development process. So that's kind of where we got our inspiration from. We thought it was a fun concept to incentivize landscape transformation. So that's kind of how it all began. The program is a 319 grant, which is funding for non-point pollution control efforts that can include projects that implement best management practices, septic to sewer projects, green infrastructure, or in this case, educational programs. The funding is from the EPA's Clean Water Act, but is a pass-through grant, so it's actually managed by the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. The grant is a 60-40 match. $25,000 was granted to be used on the FLIP rebate itself, and our match is used on all education outreach, giveaway items, and in-kind. So it's a 5-year grant. During our proposal stage, we chose a designated area of concern, which was McKay Creek. We then, it was actually an impaired watershed. It has total maximum daily loads for dissolved oxygen and nutrients. So we were encouraged to implement activities that would address these. But we also decided to increase our project area when we realized that there were a lot of applicants from Allens Creek and Lake Seminole Basin watershed as well. So it was a way to address some of the impairments, but then also kind of control the amount of applicants that we were seeing because we have a limited staff here at the county in order to handle this. Sometimes it can be a little challenging when you're working with residents that are very used to municipal boundaries and not necessarily topographical boundaries in order to educate kind of like what a watershed is and how their parcel lines up with that. But our 3 project watersheds are made up of some, but not all, of City of Largo, City of Seminole, and the City of Clearwater. Once we had our program area, we started targeting citizens, and we created a website for citizens to locate and identify their watershed and then apply to the program. This is where our office is in Alligator Creek watershed. We then planned to distribute door hangers. COVID kind of hit, changed things up a bit, so we moved more towards targeting through other platforms like Facebook. Our Environmental Management Division has its own Facebook page. You guys should follow it if you don't already. It's called Pinellas County Environmental News. So we put plugs in there. We also used the Nextdoor app, and we put in flyers in the water bills, I think at the City of Largo. So our preferred candidates are those that are willing to attend all of the flip class series. We wanted them to have working irrigation systems to start with, which I'm going to discuss further in the lessons learned section. And they needed to be able to abide by the Florida-friendly landscaping principles. So we provided the participants with a timeline and program overview so that they would know what to expect. They signed up for initial site visits, which were required. They had to attend all of the class series, which I previously mentioned. They created site designs and implemented their installation of their design. And then they also allowed for us to come for a final site visit. And these are just some of the examples of their planting plans or site designs. The required class series was a team effort, again, between the UF IFAS staff, Doris Heitzman and Melissa West. I believe Doris is on the call. She did fantastic. Melissa's great as well as presenting. And then in years past, Allie's done presentations. She's no longer with the county, so this year I took over and assisted with that. We cover topics like introduction to stormwater education, Florida-friendly landscaping basics, site design, and water conservation. Oh, I'm sorry. So in 2021, we had 3 flip candidates that completed the program. They were a great success, and it was a fun experience for all. We learned a lot in 2021 as far as what to expect and kind of how to go. It's a true pilot program, so there's a lot to be learned as we go through the years. In 2022, we had 2 separate flip rounds. That was an experience. We the first round, we had 10 candidates where we went to the initial site visits, and they all seemed conducive for the program. We had 7 actually complete the program for round 1. So they get the gold trophy. They did really well, and I can show you in the following slides some of our successes. Round 2, on the other hand, we had 7 candidates that we thought were possibilities that again were conducive with their initial site visits. We thought that their landscape fit the program well. We had 3 attend and complete all of the class series, and then we had 0 actually complete the program. So there was a big dropout rate, which is also a lessons learned. It's interesting, and it's hard to kind of gauge what that dropout rate is going to be like, but it's part of the learning process, and it's something to think about if you decide to move forward with something like this in your own municipality or area. So this is the first participant we had for round 1 of 2022, and they converted 60 square feet of their landscape. They wanted some privacy, so they put in some native grasses and created a beautiful space for their home. Participant number 2 actually hired a landscaper, and they had another section as well in their yard. But this is, we try to limit the project area to be a small, doable size. So this is what we considered their project area, and they, again, worked with a landscaper to create this space. Participant 3 converted 2,000 square feet of their landscape. They removed their irrigation system and installed micro irrigation and added 2 275-gallon rain totes. So this was a very interesting property. They had a lot of erosion issues, which they were hoping to capture some of that rainwater and reduce the erosion with the landscape that they created. We did have a little bit of an issue with this participant because part of their property was within an easement. So that also is a lesson learned that when you are looking at the parcels, make sure that you include easement areas. If they're going to be redoing their landscape, you don't want to transform the easement area because they will have to more than likely convert it back to the way that the municipality or county had it within that easement area. Participant 4 converted 250 square feet. They capped 2 sprinkler heads, turned off 2 zones, and installed micro irrigation. They were hoping to have some shade, so they planted this beautiful tree out front, and they had a really great time with this program. Participant 5 converted 490 square feet of her landscape. She was big on having edibles, so she planted things that she could then harvest. So it was really interesting and fun. She did want good habitat there as well. She was young and really enthusiastic, and she was a pleasure to work with. Participant 6 converted 500 square feet of her landscape. Again, she had some erosion issues, so this helped capture some of that stormwater runoff and erosion. And she had some help with this landscape, but it was a big task for her, and she did really well, and we were very proud of her. And then last but not least, participant 7 converted 4,600 square feet of their front yard. They capped 7 sprinkler heads and reduced their 2 zones down to 1 zone, which was their entire front yard, and that is now 100% micro irrigation. This family was incredible. They have like a food forest in their backyard. They were very involved, but they also had some help as far as creating a plan and moving forward as to what plants to use where. So they hired someone to help with their landscape as well, but it was a great success story. Some of the lessons learned I discussed earlier, but here we have, it's very important that if you're going to implement a program like this, that you have site visits to support, to make sure that it's a conducive landscape for the program. You want to make sure that it's something that they will be able to manage and that they can handle themselves or with help. It was also very important to us that we help the residents have either a goal or a mission for their landscape, such as, reducing stormwater runoff, attracting wildlife, either fertilizing less or using no fertilizer at all, erosion control. So we wanted each participant to have a mission for their landscape, and that's very important to us. Again, the size of their project area was important. We wanted to make sure that it was within reason because there is a deadline to commit to implementing that design. We want to make sure that it was doable for everyone. So the smaller, the easier, the better sometimes. We also wanted to provide more time between the plan approval and their ability to finish the project. We wanted to make sure it was within a good, reasonable time frame. Reviewing the plant list is very important because we want it to be a success, right? You want their landscape to work for them and to be as low maintenance as possible so that they can enjoy it as well. And so reviewing the plant list was very important. Lessons learned, sometimes getting help is not a bad thing. And so encouraging residents to either reach out to landscapers or see their options is a benefit. It's great if they can do it themselves, but sometimes they can't. So getting help is not a bad thing. Again, the irrigation systems, we started out wanting all of the participants to have irrigation, but then when we realized a lot of our residents don't have either they don't have an irrigation system or they don't have a working irrigation system, we still wanted them to be able to participate. But we just changed it to go more towards that vision or that mission. As long as they were working towards a mission that would improve the watershed, we weren't as concerned about having a working irrigation system. And then again, the dropout rates, that was a lesson learned, that it's inevitable in the program that you're going to have people that start out as a candidate that have a good project area that's conducive for the program, but then for one reason or another, not everyone is going to complete the program, whether it's they can't attend all the classes or they don't want to abide by the Florida friendly landscaping principles. In that second round of 2022, where we had 3 participants that completed the class series, 2 of them went forward in their landscape, but it was not a Florida friendly landscape for those families. And so we couldn't really allow them to continue in the program and be reimbursed for their landscape when it wasn't abiding by the Florida friendly principles. So that was kind of difficult, but that's okay. Again, it was a lesson learned and it was a good experience for us. So here's our contact information. If you have any further questions or want to reach out in regards to the program, we'd be happy to speak to you. Again, I'm Christine Joyner, and yes, thank you.
Awesome job, Christine. Thank you so much for presenting.
You're
So
welcome.
for 2023,
yes.
So you're sticking with the same areas?
Yeah, same 3 watersheds. We have we started with 6 candidates that completed the initial site visits that again we deemed good for the program, but we are down to 4 that have completed the class series and that are going forward. Sometimes life just hits and people say, I can't do it this round. Can I try next round? And you're like, okay, sure, we'll give it a go next time. But yeah, there's always a little bit of a dropout rate. We're learning anyways. So, but we have 4 candidates that are very enthusiastic and they're very excited, and we've got all of their planting plans, and I'm sorry, 3 out of the 4 planting plans. And so they're about to start implementing their designs.
And do you have any intentions of expanding, like once this round of funding, you've gone through that in the future, would you like to expand this program and maybe do other watersheds?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that that's a good topic for discussion. As far as how big we go, I'm not sure. It's got to be within reason that we can, maintain the program, but as long as there's interested parties, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, definitely is. Does anyone have any questions?
Christine, I'll turn my camera on. Maybe not. Why aren't you working? Okay, there we go. Do you ask when people apply how they learned about the program? Like, I'm curious, out of all of your efforts, how people are finding out.
We do ask them, and so we keep note on it. I probably should go back and look at the percentage, like which one is the highest. I know we have a lot of, it's like word of mouth, next door app, county email, water bill, and I think Facebook are our options. And so it would be interesting to go back and look at what is the highest percentage as far as.
Yeah, I'm sure it's changed every year with COVID, but yeah, no, that would be interesting to look at. I'm always curious on that, so.
Okay, well, I'll look at it and get back to you.
Yeah, we can message on the side.
Okay.
No, I think that is really interesting to bring up, because I'm sure most of the people in this room are doing some kind of educational campaigns, and actually, communicating with citizens can be a challenge. And so what platforms are the best for outreach? So maybe next meeting, you can let us know. So any other questions for Christine?
Yeah, I have one.
Hey, Jenna.
What kind of follow-up are you doing after they've completed? Are you gonna go back and see how they succeed or track that in any way?
Yes, Doris and I were actually just talking about this yesterday, how we would like to go back to all of our previous program participants and just do follow-up photos and kind of see where they're at and see how the landscape, was it the right plant at the right place? Was it a success? you know, were the participants, are they still engaged in their landscape? You know, we kind of want to gauge where it's at. So we're going to take a field trip this summer and go look at everybody's landscape from previous years. So.
Great, thank you.
I would also like to add something as of plant selection. I realized yesterday when we reviewed the 3 plants that some people are all over the place. I mean, they're selecting plants that are from, I don't know where, and I don't know how they find them. And I don't know what they think of putting a gigantic plant that wants to be 30 feet tall right up against the fence or against the house. So this is something that I try to steer away from, look more into native plants, do something that provides something in your yard. If it's for pollinators, for yourself, fruit or edibles. And we had a few candidates that implemented a lot of edible plants, which I thought was great. So some of it not in the right location, but at least they had the intention of doing something that provides. And that is something I think for the next round, I would like to stress even more, the right plant in the right place. And what are you want to do with your yard? And don't use plants that are high maintenance and won't work for you. So that's my goal for the next round.
Thanks, Doris.
And this might be I don't know if this is a Doris question, but in terms of, I mean, Alana asked, like, once this round of funding's over, is this something that like Tampa Bay Water, obviously this needs like a dedicated position to really run the program. And Christine, this is like one of a million things that you do. Same with you, Doris. So I just feel like it's a very impactful program. Like obviously they're making physical changes, but has there been any talk maybe from Tampa Bay Water or like anything to really sustain this program long-term?
We did a presentation, Ellie, Christine's predecessor, and we did a presentation, I think it was early last year, to Tampa Bay Water, to the committee there. But as of picking up the tab, I'm not ruling it out. I think it really is more about staffing. I mean, it's very time consuming. It's a lot of fun. We learn tons. I mean, I learned so much. Everybody does. The master gardeners learn a lot. They help us too, but we really have to have staff that is dedicated, because you cannot do it just on the side. It's really, you need to be dedicated. I mean, I'm really honest here. And last year we taught Eckert for 2 months, and I thought hopefully they don't come back this year, because Flip really takes up so much time already. But yeah, I think it has future, and I think funding would be great, but people, I think we would need 1 or 2 more people to help. I really do, if it's even part-time.
Yeah. Do you know, how does Alachua, is their program still going? And like,
yep.
Do they have, like, how's their program run?
Well, they do it, that's utilities who runs the program,
Okay.
Alachua County Utilities. I don't know what the staffing is there, but they are still up and running and doing it, and they seem to be very successful still.
Well, we know utilities is hiring lots of outreach people, Doris, so
I know.
maybe we could put them to good use.
Yeah, I have an advisory meeting on Thursday.
But this is being recorded. Okay. That was well said. Okay, I'll be quiet.
All right.
So I have a bit of a selfish question here. Do you guys plan on offering like staff time to, because I know the funding is really limited to those watersheds, but how about like consultation services, like someone outside of the watershed, if you want, we're redoing your landscape hypothetically, do you offer that is just to help people make sure they are picking the right plants and putting them in the right places? Is that like a service you guys offer? Because I never find that on your website, but I would love to.
Okay, so what we did stop during COVID was our yard advisor program. And that is I and Teresa Bedoric, our horticulture agent, urban horticulture agent. We are overseeing this program, meaning this is a master gardener volunteer effort, meaning I'm getting an email or I'm getting from the help desk a request for somebody who likes help. We don't do site visits for individual homeowners. I only do site visits for community associations. So homeowners, homeowner associations, condo associations, but we don't do individual homeowners. We don't have the staff, period. But what they can do, these homeowners who are interested in getting a consultation or advice. They can bring specific material with them to the extension office, schedule a meeting, and then a group, either one or most of the time 2 master gardeners, meet with them on site here in Largo. And then if they want to, they can also take them out into our gardens and show them how plants work in the real world. And it could be the native part, it could be the botanical garden. So we have some really great examples where they can see how plants work. And that seems to be pretty successful, but again, it's very time consuming. So I'm trying to get it up and running. I'm hoping for the Green Thumb Festival to have a good platform to promote it again. And then we might do, again, Facebook and all that to get the program running. So at the moment, we do have 6 master gardeners working in that program. But if it gets more, we might recruit more master gardeners helping.
That's great. Thanks, Doris. We'll definitely check it out so you guys get it running again. Any other questions for Christine or Doris? Are any other municipalities implementing a similar program? Larry, you mentioned Alachua. Any others? I'm curious. Well, I will take that as a no then. So this might be something to implement in your neighborhood, you know, look for some funding. I'm sure you could probably offer some match in terms of staff time and really help people transform their yards to stormwater friendly ones. Cool. Well, thank you so much, Christine, for your presentation. It was great. Thank you to Doris for joining.
Absolutely.
Always love learning about this program. So next up on the agenda, today is a Pinellas heavy day, but Pinellas has so many great programs and lessons for us. So today's the Pinellas agenda. We have Joey Thames of Pinellas County, and he's going to be talking about their stormwater marker program. And I had some requests offline through email, wondering about what the best materials are to use for stormwater markings and you know, how long do they last, what the maintenance look like. And so I emailed Joey asking if he can give this presentation today, just so we can all have a discussion on what has worked for you, maybe best companies you've gone with, etc. So Joey, if you are ready, then take it away.
I am, and hopefully those questions will get answered in this one. Let me see how to share screen on this. There we go. Start the presentation. Hold on. Let me give the screen to share.
Do you see at the bottom, there's a share screen button?
Can you see that?
Bottom of your Zoom
Can you see the
window?
presentation up there right now?
No.
Okay, hold on. Share.
Oh,
Did that work?
I can see your email. Oh, there you go. Now I see
Okay,
it.
cool.
You're
There we
good.
go. Yeah, nothing exciting in the email world. All righty. Good morning and welcome. Thank you, TBRPC, for having me on here. I'm going to discuss the progression of our storm drain marking program. My name is Joey Thames. I'm the VDS coordinator for Pinellas County. And here's a little rundown of our program and what we put in place this past year and how we've addressed issues as they have occurred. Pinellas County Storm Drain Marking Program is largely funded by the TBRPC through grants in conjunction with FDOT. We attempt to apply for these grants yearly. These grants fund mainly the markers themselves. However, we do include adhesive and door hangers with these grants as well. So you may ask yourself, who installs all of these markers? Well, I can assure you it is not the Storm Drain Placard Ferry. It is a collaborative effort made up of our employees, volunteers that assist us here within Pinellas County Division of Environmental Management, college interns that work with us each semester, and our very own Pinellas County citizens who, through the Adopt a Drain program, can adopt their local storm drains Obtain placards and kits as needed for installation, and maintain minor blockages as they may occur during certain times of year. For example, the leaf fall season and the initial blockages that occur along the roadways during the onset of the rainy season. With that being said, they are given contact information to report major blockages or localized flooding occurring from the drains that they monitor. This is all available on Pinellas County's website. This year, Pinellas County, in conjunction with our communications department, made an instructional video on how to properly install storm drain placards. New employees, volunteers, interns, and citizens adopting drains are instructed to watch this video to assist on how to properly install their placards. We will also provide on-the-job training as necessary for more a hands-on approach. I'm going to attempt to try to get this link to work, and we'll see. Elena, can you let me know if you can hear it once I get it going?
Sure.
Thank you. Pause. Let's go over here, carry that. And as you can see, Christine Joyner, who just spoke, is on here as well. She's the one that narrates it.
Thank you for joining our team and helping spread the word that only rain goes down the drain. This video will take you through the process of how to correctly and safely install storm drain placards on storm drains. Before you head out to start installing storm drain placards, there's a few things you should do. First, make sure you have all the tools needed from the marking kit, which can be located on the checklist. Next, you should locate the map provided by Pinellas County Environmental Management. Also, don't forget to dress the part. This is an outdoor activity and volunteers may be exposed to a variety of weather conditions. Once you arrive at your marking site, please be aware of your surroundings and follow these safety rules. Wear safety vests that are provided in the kit at all times. Avoid being in the road. Be aware of all traffic in your immediate environment. One team member should be watching for traffic while the other performs the placard attachment. Only mark curb inlet drains along residential roads. Avoid roads with posted speed limits of greater than 30 miles per hour. Avoid roads with more than 2 lanes of traffic. If any road seems unsafe, don't mark the drains. Now you're ready to install the storm drain placards. To ensure proper adhesion, surfaces must be clean, dry, and free of any loose debris. Clean the drain surface with a wire brush. Use a hand broom to sweep loose debris into the grass and not the road or curb line. Now prepare the placard. First, remove any backing or protective coatings. Next, apply adhesive around the edges in an X pattern. Push the marker down on the application surface, forcing a bead of adhesive out around the entire edge of the placard and facing the street. Press down hard on the placard for 15 seconds. It is important that the entire edge of the placard is sealed. One important note, do not place a placard on any manholes, mitered end sections, or graded drains. Once you have mounted the placard, please update the structure on our Pinellas County Storm Drain Hub at drain.pinellas.gov. Thanks again for being part of our team and helping Pinellas County spread environmental awareness. Remember, only rain goes down the drain.
There we go. So we have that, and we show that to our new, like I said, new employees, volunteers, interns, and citizens that are adopting drains. Our kits are provided in 5-gallon buckets. In this bucket will contain the placard, which are made up of a flexible polyurethane, the adhesive, which you will need to use the adhesive provided by the manufacturer, which is DAS, as this will ensure the warranty and that the placards are properly adhered to the concrete surface. Door hangers are also provided as to notify the residents in the areas marked of what is occurring and why. It also engages conversation to storm drain water quality and really hits home with the only rain down the drain message, which we try to deliver through this program. Other installation equipment such as wire and other brushes are provided to loosen and remove debris when prepping the top of the drain for installation. We also provide PPE such as gloves, eye protection, and most importantly, high-vis vests. Cones that are not pictured are provided to allow for a safe buffer from traffic when installation occurs. I provide to all groups going out a map of the area along with the paperwork outlining guidelines that the groups installing the placard should follow. Things that are not provided are items such as sunscreen, bug spray, sunglasses, and sun protection clothing such as hats and long sleeve shirts. All of our co-permittees within Pinellas County can receive grant-funded placards, adhesive, and door hangers. All a co-permittee needs to do is contact me and I can get the supplies together. We offer placards such as drains to lake, ponds, streams, bay, and Gulf placards. For neighborhoods to participate, we ask that they go through our Adopt a Drain program, and that those contacts, which you've already heard today with Lara and Christine, will be given to them for guidance on how to get signed up within that program. Currently, our employees, volunteers, and interns can enter data in the ArcGIS format for storm drain marking, a simple format that allows them to change the color of the dot from purple with no placard to green with placard. They can also input who installed the placard and what type of placard was installed along with the date as well. Adopt a Drain folks can access a more stripped down version on their electronic devices. This has less permissions, but it helps us stay on top of this and prevents us from getting overwhelmed with if there's many Adopt a Drain neighborhoods out there putting information in. If the citizens do not have access to such a device, a map will always be provided, and they can return that map to me and I'll input the data into our ArcGIS system. After a couple months, we will investigate the integrity of the placards, how the installation was, and if the storm drains are functioning or if there are other issues that may be observed in these areas. The better organized you are in anything, but in this program specifically, the easier it is to manage. It's easy to get short on supplies based on need. I'm already letting folks know that we are running short on some of the placards, and requests can range from anywhere to 200 to 400 placards at a time, so inventory can change very quickly. Always maintain communication with the installers, both within your organization and those citizens who volunteer to install the placards. It is also important that we get our kits back, so we try to maintain an open line of communication with the citizens that take these kits out to install placards within their neighborhoods, just so we can get them back. Finally, after installation, we go over the paperwork, make sure the input in the GIS layer is accurate. We be sure to track our outreach events on other databases that we use for reporting, such as the MS4 annual report. And we make sure any comments or issues are updated within those databases and are properly documented. In the follow-ups that occur, we observe how the placards are holding up in the elements. Things like moisture building up behind the placard. Is the placard becoming delaminated due to poor installation? Is the placard becoming tacky on top due to manufacturer issue? These are things that need to be observed, recorded, monitored, and addressed. Pinellas County recently identified a manufacturer's issue where the tops of the placards became tacky, collecting grass initially, and then collecting pavement dust throughout the time, giving almost a shingle-like appearance. As you can see in these visual aids I created for our interns, if you look at the one that says how to identify placard conditions, you can kind of see the progression of what occurred when the tackiness occurred on top of the drain. It went from being a legible drain to almost looking like a shingle is what I called it. The manufacturer stated that this is what occurred as a manufacturer issues, and they were really good at replacing them. We currently have a shipment coming to us replacing all the defunct placards that were identified. The difficulty was to identify which shipment were defunct and where they were installed. Our interns were essential in going out and identifying where these defunct placards existed and pulling them up. We're also currently working on replacing those neighborhoods impacted by this defect and getting back to where we were. If co-permittees receive defunct placards from us, please let me know. And once this new shipment come in, I'll be sure to replace the ones that we gave y'all. If you have received placard from me in the past 8 to 10 months, they should be good placards as the shipment was identified and separated from the rest of the stock. If these placards are installed and made correctly, they should last a minimum of 15 years. Other issues that we came across is if you did not use the adhesive that's supplied by DAS, and you use something like liquid nail, they came up very easily, as you can see in that lower left-hand picture. The lower right-hand photo shows what a kind of a shingle looks like installed. There's a placard there, but you can barely see it just from the asphalt dust collecting on top of it. Other issues we also ran into were when some of these placards were installed, they were installed on old placards, so they didn't adhere to that, and they were easily pulled up. Also, if you do not get a bead of adhesive around the entire edge of the storm drain placard and have it come around the entire edge of the placard when you install it, you almost get this delaminating look to it, as you can see in the upper right-hand photo on the upper right-hand placard. It kind of comes undone because moisture builds up underneath that polyurethane in the placard itself and can cause it to delaminate. So that bead of adhesive around the entire placard will actually protect that and prevent that from happening. So what do you do after you install the placard? And if you're a citizen, adopt a drain, or if you're an employee, you try to go out and maintain those drains to a minor level. If there's anything such as sticks and debris in front of the storm drain, remove those and place them from a maximum 10 feet from the sides of the drain, or properly dispose of it in a trash can. In Pinellas County, it's illegal to discharge anything such as chemicals, oil, sewage, trash, and yard waste into our storm drains. So we ask citizens and anyone who sees this occurring to contact us at 727-464-4425, or they can send us an email through our hotline and notify us, and we'll go and investigate. So kind of like a see something, say something mentality out there. And but we usually respond to all complaints within 24 hours of receiving them. As stated, these are our contacts for the Adopt a Drain program and for pretty much our storm drain placard program. Lara, she's really good about setting up citizens and directing them my way to get them set up for placards and kits. Christine's really good about getting interns in and filtering them to me to train them and to install storm drain placards. And that's my contact information as well. Is there any questions that anyone has?
Yes, this is Christine. Thank you for all the information you have already sent us. We are in the process of ordering our stormwater placards from the company you get. What size did you get? Because they sent us the default of like the 3-inch by 4-inch one.
I can tell you real quick. Hold on.
Thanks.
It is 6 by 9.
And was that from the default stock, or were they considered special orders?
I have no clue. We just this is what we've been ordered since this is what we've been ordering since I've been a part of this program, and we just kind of keep going with the same stuff. Elena, would you have any information on that?
Repeat the question, Christine.
Well, when I reached out to the same company, which Joey gave me the information for, they gave me the default size, and they're fairly small. They're like 3 inches by, I don't know, 4 inches. They're and for the 4-inch diameter standard placards. So we're just, and the material that your placards are, Joey, are they aluminum or?
No, they're actually polyurethane. They're flexible, and they have a polyurethane coating on it, and they are rubber plastic, you know.
Joey, Christine, I don't know about that specific company, but I would maybe reach back out to them and ask about the 6x9 sizing, see if they'd be willing to do that. But to kind of tag along to your comment and question, Joey, I wonder, is the metal, would that, if you used metal instead of the polyurethane, would that help to reduce some of the weathering that you're seeing?
One thing I've noticed about the metal ones is they get ill. I mean, they have a shelf life as well. Some of the ones I've seen are kind of bright white now. You actually have to get on top of it to see what the message actually is because it's faded in the sun so much. The things that we've kind of looked at is possibly doing the stamped metal ones that have an actual imprint, but they are pricey as opposed to what we get. But we're wondering if something like that would actually, you know, kind of uphold well in the elements. But as far as mass producing and keeping things in stock and keeping things in a budget without getting too crazy, we found that these are the best. And like I said, if they're made correctly and if they're installed correctly, they could last up to 15 years out in the field.
Even with the polyurethane,
Yes.
they can last 15 years.
Yes, that's what the warranty is on them. So we'll see. But this is the badge that we received where the coating on top had was compromised. You knew within 4 to 6 months that there was an issue. You could see it occurring right away. And then when I went to try to find out which batch was the bad batch, you could actually feel on the top, it was extremely tacky, just straight out of the container. After we noticed that, we kind of keep all of the storm drain placards indoors, just to kind of help them cure up some after we receive them. But yeah, I would think that the forged metal ones that have the relief on the storm drain on the placard itself would probably be a guarantee to last a lot longer than most of the products that are out there.
It's great to know. I actually have some of the metal ones in my office.
That right
This
there.
one, and these are like, it is imprinted, the letters. So maybe that would last a good. And then I also have the metal ones that are, it's just like printed on. It's, so I could see how maybe this would, with enough sun, could probably
They do.
see how it turned white.
Those specifically, we've pulled some up already, and they're really faded, or they get scratched or damaged by lawnmowers real easily and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I've
This
seen
one
these-
is really nice with the letters, are like, it's engraved.
Oh yeah, I mean that's what I think would be kind of like considered the Cadillac of storm drain placards.
Yeah.
How do they adhere those? It had like a hole in the middle of it. I mean, is it applied with a nail or something to go down into the drain?
I have
Like
no
we're
clue.
like in the middle of the fish has a hole.
Right.
Those have to be riveted down. We've used them before.
Oh, okay.
Yes, this is Heather Maggio. We have those in downtown Tampa. That's our signature for downtown, the circular ones. And not all of them have that hole. We used the glue and they seem to be working very well. I'm trying to remember when I did that. I think it was about 8 years ago and they still look great. I haven't seen them fade or anything like that. The only time we're missing them is when we replace a curb. So they worked out great. Now the larger rectangular ones are the ones we use outside of downtown because they're less expensive.
You said that there is some kind of a nail that goes through the middle.
Yeah,
I
we've
haven't
used them
done it.
before and we've riveted them down.
Okay, so there's an option for that, but I know my teams didn't do the rivet. We just use glue.
Yeah, we use those here in the city of Lakeland too, and we get the style that doesn't have the hole. And then Almatech, which is where we order those from, they have the option of buying adhesive discs that fit nicely on the inside of those. So yeah, there's 2 options.
Sandra, and you guys do the metal ones then?
Yeah, exactly the one that you're holding there without the hole in the middle. So you can order it 2 different ways depending on your option of install, whether you want to rip them down or and ours still look great too. We've had them out for years, but they are pricey. Agreed, Jelly. They are quite pricey now with the cost of aluminum has gone up quite a bit. They've doubled in cost in the last year and a half.
Good to know.
Hey, Sandra, when you get a chance, give me a call. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Yep, we'll do, Heather.
So does anyone else have any experience with putting down storm drain markers or placards? Do you want to share your experience with the materials or the company that you've gone with? Does everyone use the DOS manufacturing then?
I think Sandra said that she used a different company for the metal ones, but I couldn't make out what the company's name was.
Yep, I'll put it in the chat box. It's called Almatech. So I'll
Great.
put that in.
Yeah, please put that in the chat, Sandra. Thank you. And
Okay.
Heather, if you use a different company too, maybe you can add that to the chat.
I actually am looking at my emails. I just got a quote from a company. I'm looking at the name right now to see if I can. It says Aaron Summer, marketing director, and he came up with, yeah, they're pretty high, $5.63 each for the aluminum storm drain. And then the Duracast coated custom are $4.27, which is one that was custom made for us. And it's identical to our illicit discharge logo, which is the blue. Maybe I can share my screen here and it'll show. Can you all see that?
Yes.
Okay, so he just sent me this email on February and I haven't responded back, but yeah, he's talking about the ones, the circular ones are the $5.63 each. And then the Dural coated custom ones, because I asked him to make some that look just like this blue to match our illicit discharge program. And those came out at $4.27. So yes, they are not inexpensive at all.
And that's
Looking
DOS
for
manufacturing.
grants right now to fulfill this.
That looked like it was DOS manufacturing as well.
Okay.
I will share my screen really quickly because Megan Wepfer with Madeira Beach, she also recently ordered some storm drains. Here we go. Let's see. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
And those are the storm drain markers that they ordered. And it looks like they went with Osborne Associates. And they seemed relatively inexpensive, $267 each one. I cannot tell though if they're metal or if that's the polyurethane. It kind of looks like the polyurethane to me.
Okay.
But I am not an expert in selling materials. So it could be metal, it could be printed on metal. It kind of looks almost like the same size as this metal one that we have here in the office where it's like printed on there. But $267 each one isn't as bad, I guess.
I just put in the chat what Aaron quoted me, and those are for the as you can see the dimensions. They're 3 by 5.25 or 4-inch diameter, and this is what he quoted Pasco for the placards, and that was March 16th was that email. We are in the process of trying to get the aluminum quote of the, I think they're 5 by 10s of the, like the one that you held up with the fish on it. But he hasn't came back with a price on those yet.
Okay. Anyone else want to share their experience with getting some storm drain markers? Anything you found has really worked or has not worked at all?
I can tell you that those small circular ones in downtown seem to be the ones that have held up the best versus the rectangular ones outside of downtown. They also are embedded, so if they fade, they still have the engraving on them. That's a positive to those. And also when we do our art projects and we actually paint the entire top, the little circular ones are integrated into the art. And so if you look at some of them, you can see the artists use that circular one as part of their art piece. So I prefer those. That's my feedback.
Thanks, Heather. So it seems like maybe the metal ones are great in those high traffic areas and the less expensive ones are good maybe for like the neighborhoods where they get less visibility. I just worry with the polyurethane ones, if they do become loose, then it is like a source of pollution too.
Yeah. And that's one thing we noticed with the liquid nail when they were using that, how they come loose very easily. We also noted one that had a, when it was installed without the backing removed. So it just kind of came off and was sitting off to the side and the backing was nicely affixed to the concrete. So you do definitely have to do QC on those. But I do agree. And one thing that I wish maybe I can throw it out in the universe is a way to see if these storm drain markings and these placard installations are actually having a positive impact on the environment, you know. Just trying to, I mean, because we can mark storm drains all day, but if they don't do anything, if there's no way to quantify or to show that these are actually doing good for the environment, I wonder what's kind of the point behind it, you know?
Lara actually added a really good resource to the chat. Lara, you just turned on your camera, so I'm sure you're about to repeat the same thing.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Joey, I've been like desperately trying to find this, and of course it's like within my own university that I just found this research, but they do at least show increased awareness based on the 2 studies that they reference in the link. I don't know, I can repost it since there's been oh, there we go. She already did. Alana did. So it does show effectiveness, and then they actually like show you what you could do to follow up to show actual impacts on water quality. That would take, you know, a lot of work, but
right.
That was at least exciting to read that. And
I would love for someone to do that study to see the
actually
of it.
Yeah, and Joey, maybe I'll get with you on the side because I just reached out to Mary Lusk, who does a lot of research at UF on stormwater ponds. And I said, hey, would you be interested in doing some research with my Adopt a Drain program if I got a neighborhood that we could show like current baseline water quality and now that we've done the program? She's like, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Like, really, lady, like you have a million things to do, but we could maybe incorporate that into it as well. So
we do actually have a neighborhood that just took a kit, I want to say about 2 weeks ago. That might be a good one. I could probably send you an email with the information, and maybe you can follow up with the person that installed the placards. I'm still trying to get my kit back from them, so I need to be in contact with them anyways.
Awesome. Let's take Michelle's question or comment, and then we'll move on. I have a presentation on this year's stormwater funding. Michelle?
I just wanted to make a note. So the city of Dunedin, we do have storm drain markers, and basically we use the same company and the same type that Pinellas County uses. But how we use it is our stormwater operator who operates the vac truck. Actually, when he goes out to maintain, so to vacuum out the catch basin, because we have a proactive program where we vacuum out the storm drain and we remove the sediment and the solids. He actually puts down, if there is no storm drain marker, he puts down the storm drain marker, he glues it on. And then he actually fills out an inspection form that tells me how much he's removed and if there is a storm drain there or not. I don't really know if there is a relationship with that how much is removed is related to, you know, a storm drain marker being present or not, but that's kind of one way we've integrated the storm drain markers into our stormwater maintenance program, because we just don't have the staff to go out and to actually mark individually. So just food for thought. And that's all I have.
That's great, Michelle. Thanks for adding that. And have you noticed that with those drains that are marked, is there a few like less debris?
Actually, I can't really say because I know I am tracking it. I know in recent inspections of our storm drain ops, it really varies. You know, sometimes we pull 2 yards from a storm drain and there's no storm drain marker. But sometimes, you know, it varies. I can't really say that there is a relationship there. But it's something I want to build into this program. So it's going to take a little time for that.
Cool. Maybe you can come back once you have some more data and you've been able to kind of establish those relationships.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. All right. Well, thank you so much, Joey, for giving your presentation. It was really informative and I'm glad we had this discussion. I hope you all feel like you kind of know more about the materials to go with and sort of those steps. And I think that video was a great addition to train people on how to actually install them and all those safety precautions they should take. So great job. And I'm glad to see Pinellas County is doing this. And it seems like the other cities are as well.
Thank you, Elena.
So I know our meeting is coming to a close, but we have a roundtable discussion on the agenda, but I thought I would end the meeting with a quick presentation on FY24 stormwater funding. So thanks to you guys who stuck around. Let me share my screen. I will get this presentation rolling. Alrighty. Just swap. I need to swap the displays, right? All right. Do you see the full screen, not the presenter side?
Yes.
Thank you. So we are about to begin the next cycle of stormwater outreach funding. And so just wanted to give you some more details about that and what the timeline looks like for this coming year. So for those of you who don't know, but I think most of you do, every year the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council on behalf of FDOT distributes about $90,000 in grants to municipalities and counties in Pinellas, Hillsborough, and Pasco. And so these kind of mini grants go towards any kind of stormwater outreach and education efforts. And they can't fund staff time, but they can go towards all of your materials, your signage, anything that'll help promote stormwater education and awareness. And they also could fund, artists to come in and to put down, really pretty murals on your storm drains, just like you see in the picture. So this coming year, and that should say FY24 timeline, sorry. But this coming year, what I anticipate at the end of this week, I'll have the RFP and the application the window will officially open. And then July 13th will be the deadline for you to get all of your applications in. And then the next meeting that we have for this committee will be on July 18th, and that's where we'll get all the presentations from those who've applied. So whoever does apply, like always, you need to prepare, about a 5 or less minute presentation. And then a few weeks after that, I anticipate having an announcement of those who were awarded. And then if you go around next year, in August, all of the reimbursement materials will be due, and you'll get more details on all of that if you are awarded funding. And so we have introduced, starting, I guess when I joined, we started to prioritize target audiences, and they've generally been the same audiences: construction development, lawn care, landscaping, homeowners associations, tourism, and hospitality. This year I added like frontline communities as well. And so I was a discussion question I have for you all. Are these the right target audiences? Should I change them for this coming year? And I'd love to get your feedback on that. But we keep the same evaluation criteria. This is how we rank the projects and decide on who should get what funding. And so that stayed pretty consistent, and you can find the list of these criteria on our website. And so let me get right into the discussion questions. So what new audiences should be prioritized for FY24 funding? I would love any ideas you have to encourage more creative project applications. I try and steer people away from doing, truck wraps and some of the same old projects. We want creative ideas, new innovative ways to educate people. And then if you have any ideas on who or where I could be posting the funding opportunity so we get even more applications. So that is my quick presentation on FY24 funding. Do you guys have any questions? Joey, you raised your hand. What's up?
I'm going to try to get everything unclicked. Hold on. There we go. One thing I noticed about the focus groups that you had on that slide is one thing that I noticed in common with a lot of them is turnover rate. Construction and landscaping both have high turnover rates. And I don't know if, and I probably think that that's why it's probably a high priority, but I don't have no solution to that problem, but I don't know if it should warrant such high priority with the turnover rate, and especially with tourists and stuff. I mean, that's a turnover rate in itself, I would like to say focus more on citizen geared outreach to educate the people who are here and who are out and about in our towns and cities every day. One of the things that we've focused our new marketing on is trash pickup. We've incorporated trash pickup into our stormwater outreach. We have a new bus wrap out there that it's like our old bus wrap, but it actually has trash and it talks about picking up after yourself and things like that. And that's one thing I see the most of when driving around Pinellas County is the trash on the side of the road is just insane. I mean, there's so much of it out there. Yeah, you see grass clippings, yeah, you see poor best management practices at construction sites, but one thing that I've seen increasing since I've lived here for the past 8 years is just the amount of trash just seems to increase almost exponentially.
So neighborhoods, maybe even new residents could be a good target audience, because if you're seeing a growing amount of debris, I wonder if that has any kind of correlation to the influx of new residents that we're getting. We might not know that the debris in the streets that does go into our storm drains and it empties out into the bay. So I can definitely make that one of our priority audiences, just neighborhoods and new residents.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that we should probably focus. I think it would be the most significant as far as a permanent change. Whereas if you focus a lot on companies that have high turnaround rates, they're not going to know because they're going to be a completely different group of people,
Right. Okay, thanks for that feedback. It's great. Anyone else have any suggestions? Questions?
Alana, this is Juanita Pasco.
Hi, Juanita.
Is there a limit to the amount of the award this year?
15,000 will be the limit, same as last year. Good question, though.
Okay.
Heather, did you have a question?
That actually was my question, but I also had a follow-up for the markers, because we all seem to be interested in that. Is that something that could exceed the 15,000 if we went in as a group for an application? If some of us preferred the circular ones, if we went in as a region possibly? Could we get a better price, and would DOT be willing to fund that?
Yeah, we should talk about that, because I would say if you're gonna get a better price if you order bulk together.
Mhm.
And we always encourage collaboration and regional type projects. So yeah, I think that's something that they'd be willing to consider. We set 15 as the max limit, so we don't get a bunch of, $30,000-$40,000 applications, and then we can only fund 2 or 3. We want to be able to fund as many projects as we can. But if let's say you partnered with Pinellas County and, several municipalities to go in for, the metal ones, then yeah, I think that could definitely be considered. So.
Because we do a lot of outreach with Keep Tampa Bay Beautiful, and Hillsborough County also does Keep Tampa Bay Beautiful, and Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, etc. A lot of those groups like those projects. So I'll call them and see if they're willing. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Heather. And I would encourage anyone who's interested in maybe joining Heather on an application for storm drain markers, reach out to her, because that is one of our criteria. If there's regional collaboration, then you do get ranked higher, get a better score. So any other questions or comments? Any other suggestions for new target audiences? Okay. Well then, seeing none, I guess my last question for you all will be, do you have any topic ideas for future meetings? Is there anything you would like to see a presentation on or a discussion on?
Elena, will these be going back to in-person anytime soon, or is this all going to maintain virtual?
That's a good question, and it's something that I've been back and forth on. I love in-person meetings. I think it's a great way to engage one another, collaborate. But I've found that it seems like we're getting somewhat better participation online. We get more attendance. Some people are joining us from municipalities that are further away that might not if we were in person. So we could do hybrid meetings if you guys have interest in coming in person. And it's really your call. I'll leave it up to you all to tell me what it is that works best for you. Does anyone have any input on returning in person fully or continuing online, potentially even doing like a hybrid meeting?
As somebody from probably the furthest municipality, I definitely prefer the online meeting.
I mean, I prefer in person just because that's how I like engaging with people. But when I do my municipality meetings, I do a hybrid style where I'll have a laptop set up with a camera overlooking the people that do show up. And we have pretty good success rate on both ends. I mean, we have about anywhere from 12 to 15 people show up, and then we have about 5 to 8 people who chime in virtually.
Okay, that's something I can look into for this group. We are redoing all of the AV in our council room. So previously having meetings in there were difficult because the sound wasn't the best, and so if you were joining online, you really couldn't hear the people in the room. So it's something that I can definitely explore, because I get you're coming from, Joey. I also like in-person engagement as well. So I'll look into it, and I will, if I decide to make, it probably won't be the next meeting as it's all the presentations, but maybe the meeting after that, the last one of the year that's in September, maybe that one I'm sorry, October 17th. That might be a good one to target for maybe a hybrid meeting.
Okay.
Well,
thank you.
Any presentation ideas before we sign off here?
I do think maybe it would be worth seeing, and I'm happy to do it, if Mary Lusk, like featuring some research on stormwater, or maybe we could get topics from the group, stormwater ponds, or whatever folks here are interested in. I don't know if people would be interested in that.
Yeah.
I'm also going to be sending, probably through Alana, Extension is hosting, we're calling it just broadly water research updates. We're gonna have monthly webinars and we're gonna be, you can register and just watch it from the comfort of your computer, but I'm gonna be hosting locations where people can meet in person, Joey, to watch the webinars together to enhance networking opportunities too. So anyway, but
That's
I'm
great.
happy to work with you, Alana, if you want to get somebody from UF to present too.
Yeah, let me know. And then I'm happy to send out if you have some emails you'd like to reach everyone, then let me know and I can send that out. Alrighty, well, I appreciate you guys attending today. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Great job educating people on stormwater problems and, you know, just keep up the good work. So we will talk soon in July, on July 18th. Hope to see you all there. Bye,
Thank you,
guys.
Elena.
Thanks, Elena.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Elena, Alana. I'll see you soon.
Thanks, Vicki. Bye.